Do you want to know the secret to sleeping well at night, every night, as a business owner? Find out in this episode of Financial Control for Life. In this episode, we're going to talk about the business owners and the ups and downs that business owners face when it comes to their greatest assets, themselves, their staff, their spouses. I'm going to talk about a very, very personal story that happened to my wife and myself and how it affects our business. We all hear about the stock market crashes and the economy and how all those things affect our businesses. But one thing that we don't think about is the human aspect of our business and how it can derail a business severely. And in our situation, our key business partner and owner and wife, Michelle, our CEO, was affected by cancer. And it was only 3 years into our business when this happened. And she was only 47 years old, and it was stage 3B cancer. Now, can you imagine the effect that would have on our business, on myself? We have one child, on our family. It was very, very challenging and dramatic experience for us, very emotional process, where she had to, go into the hospital and have cancer surgery, where the surgery went okay, we thought, but then it became problematic, and she became sepsis and had issues and ended up being in the hospital 3 months. And she had to go through chemo too. Why I'm telling you this is because as a business owner, I still had to do the day-to-day work. I still had to go and make sure the business was working. We didn't have the staff at that time, young son at home. So it was tough to handle that process. The key component of this episode is to really focus on the living side of your life and that you are your greatest asset, and to protect your life. Because we all insure our cars and our washing machines and other things that we have to insure the greatest asset that brings income in, which is ourselves. Okay, so what steps do you need to do? What do you need to do to make sure that these things are in place so you don't need to worry and you can totally sleep really nice at night? Well, number one, you've got to make sure you run through the whole protective side of your business, personal and also business, and that means you need to get proper life insurance. Could be term insurance, could be whole life, could be a combination of those two. Also, some whole life insurance policies have ability to put riders or what's called baby policies on the whole life policy. So if you have a whole life policy, maybe corporately or personally, you can add riders. And one rider to add would be a critical illness rider, which is really important. And also, you may need some additional term insurance because the death benefit requirement is quite high. You're not able to afford the whole life that you'd like to do, but you know that you can convert some of that term insurance later into more whole life, so that's another great benefit to have. So you really need to get a full needs analysis based on what insurance protection do you need, how much do you need in your business, how much do you need personally. That's step one. Number two, you've got to get the living benefits in place too, which means you need to figure out how much life insurance is going to be there, as we just said, but also we need to have the disability. So if you're in an accident or get ill, there's a monthly payment coming over personally, or also in a perfect world, you'd also have overhead expense coverage too to pay the rent, utilities, things that happen in the business. Next, you also need to have critical illness. As I just mentioned with Michelle's cancer, it was life-threatening, as we know. She would have gotten a lump sum payment, so you got to make sure you have proper critical illness. The earlier you can do this, the better. Early, young, teach your kids, teach your teenagers to get this stuff in place now, because if you wait till you're 40, 50, 60, it's going to be too expensive or you won't be insurable to get it. Now, the next thing you want to make sure you have covered is key person insurance. This is basically having life insurance on a partner or a key person in your business. And obviously, if something happened to that individual, you know there's going to be money coming into the business that can help fund the business until you get someone else in place to use it for other means. Maybe you have to take some time off at that time to deal with that grief. So that's really important to have the key person insurance in place. Next on the list is the buy-sell agreement. What's a buy-sell agreement? If you have a business partner, you want to make sure that you both are covered, and there's a legal document that a lawyer does to create a buy-sell. So if something happens to a partner, there's life insurance that's going to be paid to the company, the survivor of that business can then use those dollars to buy out the shares from that deceased spouse. That way, the spouse is no longer involved in a business he or she has no desire to be part of, and the survivor of that business can then carry on that business for the future. So when a business partner dies, you need to have coverage in place to protect your business and to be able to buy out the spouse's shares. Next, in order to stay really, really cozy at night and sleep easy every single night, you also want to make sure you've got dental and health plans in place. So if you have a major dental work, perhaps, it can be quite costly if you don't have any plans in place. Well, a great idea is to have the Health and Welfare Trust we talked in a previous episode, which means that you can now have a tax deduction, be able to pay for that personally, have your company pay it, get reimbursed personally, and have the tax deduction for your business. Another key one really is really important to sleep easy at night is making sure you've got proper will in place. Proper letter of direction or last and final letter, so people know what's going to happen, what you want, where your passwords are, where your will is. All those things are in place. Power of attorney. So those are some ways to be able to sleep easy every single night and not have to worry about your business. So the big key lesson on this episode is really focusing on the critical aspects of the protection side. So you know everything's in place. I know it's a bit of work to get it all set up, but it's so worth it to have your financial house in order on the protective side, because hey, life is short. We're really on this planet for a short time. It's so important to make sure that you've got all those critical protective stuff in place to live a life you love and not worry about it and be able to sleep every night real easy.